Hello everybody, and welcome to this week's healing related video. My name is Tasmia, or Smia for short, and I run Nerd for Healing and Yedge Healing Space. So, who is inner child and why do they run your life? You may or may not be familiar with the term inner child, and I know I certainly, when I first came across it, I didn't quite understand what it was and what the big deal about it was. But as I got deeper into my healing path, I realized how fundamental it is to pretty much anything. So, in short, the inner child is your psyche at its younger self. So this could be anywhere from like in the womb to when you're 18, 19, like I've done inner child work on, me from when I was 19. So it can run the gamut of anywhere from your younger self. And it's a psyche of when you were younger, and particularly it's the unmet needs of when you were younger. And it's how these unmet needs actually drive our life in the present day as an adult. So, for example, if you were praised for one particular thing, like, for having a good job, being successful, and your parents always emphasized that, like, subconsciously, that is very likely to create, you, like, chasing success as a way to get love. And you might never realize, like, that's what's actually driving the drive for success. It's also related to conditional and unconditional love. It's like, if you're praised for only one thing, that's like a condition set upon receiving love. So the part of ourselves that is not like the thing, for example, the part of ourselves that's like unsuccessful, for example, in the example of getting praise for success, that part of ourselves will get shut down and repressed. And we'll hate that aspect of ourselves and want to not look at it, want to shame ourselves for it, that kind of thing. So yeah, like anything that we receive praise for, it could be like good looks or achievements, that kind of thing. Yeah, and also so that's like one side of the coin, and then there's the unmet needs side of the coin. So, like, were you seen as a child? Like, did people see you for who you were? Were you understood? If anybody's familiar with love languages, like your love language could be words of affirmation or acts of service or etc. Like, if you didn't receive love in the way that is your love language, then that could be like an unmet need, right? So, for example, like maybe your parents showed you love by doing acts of service, but your love language is actually words of affirmation. So you didn't get a lot of, like, they didn't give you a lot of praise, for example, and so you're kind of starving in that arena. So now as an adult, you might, whatever you can do to get those needs met, like if you find someone who gives you like words of affirmation, they might not be like the best person for you, but they fulfill like that inner child need, then you'll be drawn towards them because they're meeting that need. So another way to look at inner child stuff is just subconscious things, like the things that are, you may have heard how 90% of what rules us is our subconscious and 10% is the conscious. So you can look at that 90% as the inner child kind of manipulating things, and we're not even aware of it. So unless we're actually aware of the inner child driving things, then we can live our lives unconsciously. We can pick partners from that place of unmet childhood needs. Like, if you keep on dating the same person over and over again, that's most likely an inner child thing, right? So okay, now that we have a background of what the inner child is, which is basically our younger psyche and our unmet needs from our younger self, what do we do from there? Like, if we're starting to become more aware of like how it might be affecting our lives, how it might be affecting our behavior, what can we do from there? So basically it's pretty simple. It's just meeting those needs, those unmet needs, right? So if it's like, for example, like not getting like words of affirmation, like you got love in other ways, but maybe you didn't get love from words of affirmation, then it's your job as an adult to reparent that inner child by giving the inner child words of affirmation. So for example, like mirror work is something I'll do for inner child work, and that's basically just saying the things to your inner child that they didn't hear as a child enough. So for example, you can say, I love you, I see you, I'm so proud of you, you're so special, like that kind of thing, saying yourself that to yourself, saying those things to yourself in a mirror. That's one way to do inner child work. You can also like imagine yourself, like kind of go into a meditation and imagine yourself as a younger child, and like imagine yourself coming in as an adult, or like another kind of figure, your parents, like maybe your parents, or like another figure, parental figure, coming in and soothing the inner child. Yeah, you can also like anything that's kind of addictive in nature, like, you know, endless like scrolling on Facebook and you can't stop it, or like eating food as a way to self-soothe, or yeah, like any of the range of addictive behaviors. A lot of times that kind of goes back to unmet needs and trying to get that need filled through these external means. If we notice ourselves kind of going into these addictive patterns, like in that moment, just like putting a hand on our heart and saying, I love you, I see you, I am not abandoning you, that can like quell like that addictive loop. So yeah, like inner child work, it's like a long-term game in like continually reparenting ourselves so that we're no longer driven by those unmet needs. Something that I have found to be, like, I've been doing inner child work for about like a year or so, but something I found to be really, to make the work like more effective, is actually theta healing, or any kind of thing that gets you into like a certain state where you can like just download things quicker. So yeah, actually I talked about theta healing like a little bit before, but I would definitely recommend it if you want to like fast track the inner child work, I guess. And if you're interested, I'm doing pay what you can for theta healing, or I can recommend you some awesome theta healers. But anyway, yeah, so in summary, inner child is our younger psyche and the needs that didn't get met, whether that was like being seen, understood, loved unconditionally, that kind of thing, safety, security. And we just need to find a way to give that to ourselves in the present day so that we can break the cycle and not be driven by these unconscious urges, and live a life of like really live a life not from unmet needs, but from truly being free and creating what we want. And it's really amazing to get to that place. So yeah, I hope this was a good watch for you. If you have any questions, feel free to message me. And yeah, theta healing, if you guys are curious, also message me about that. Otherwise, I will catch you next week for the next healing related video. Okay, see ya.